to the Kuhner Report, 6:05 here on AM 680 WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2. Good morning, Boston. 617-266-6868 if you want to be part of the show. You can also join us through the text line, 680-680. A lot to talk about today. We're going to have Lou Pelletier on, the father of Justina Pelletier, on at 8 o'clock for a newsmaker interview. To be precise, at 8:05. You don't want to miss it. Trust me, it's going to be a really, really rocking interview. A lot to talk about today. There's a big local story. And I have to say, in all of my years of covering politics, scandals, controversies, at the Washington Times and now really here in Boston over the last couple of years, 18 months, however long it's been, this is one of the craziest, oddest, most bizarre stories I've ever seen or heard of in my life. It's like out of some kind of Hollywood movie. And I'm talking obviously about what's going on with Mark Fisher, Tea Party candidate for the governor of Massachusetts, who's in a long, protracted battle with the Republican Party and with Charlie Baker to get on the primary ballot in the fall so he can have a runoff election against Charlie Baker to see who will be the Republican nominee to, go ahead to contest whoever will be the Democratic nominee to become our next governor. And it's an absolutely bizarre tale. And so yesterday, Mark Fisher held a press conference. And here's what's been going on. As you know, Mark Fisher, we've had him on the show a few times, he's called in, has been challenging Charlie Baker. He wants to be the nominee for the Republican Party to face off against the Democratic candidate for governor of Massachusetts. It's a free country. It's perfectly his right. I thought we lived in a democracy. I thought people had the right to run for higher office. I don't see what the problem is. He's frankly more conservative on some issues than Charlie Baker. He's been extremely critical of Baker, of the Republican establishment, and especially of the Dems. And so, in September, at the Massachusetts convention, the recent Republican convention, the delegates were to decide who their nominee was to be. And to have a primary, Mark Fisher needed to get 15% of the delegates. He needed to hit the 15% threshold. Well, lo and behold, he literally fell, I'm talking like 0.02%, whatever it was. He barely fell short of that bar. Apparently the party claimed he didn't get the 15%. He got 0.8%, 14.8, 14.9. He just got under. And so the party immediately said, well, our rules are 15%. It's 15%. And you don't have the 15%, and sorry, no can do. And Baker will then get the nomination. It'll be a coronation, and it's his, and he'll face whoever the Democrats decide to pick in their primary. Well, Mark Fisher immediately claimed, and I have to say I was with him on this, that there was something suspicious going on. That apparently there were some blank ballots that were thrown in, that it seems that there was some political hanky-panky going on, whereby they wanted to make sure that he didn't get to the 15%. Now, he has now been contesting the Republican Party ever since. There's been lawsuit after lawsuit. Bills have piled up. Fees have piled up. Lawyers' fees have piled up. This thing has been a never-ending saga. But now it gets more interesting. The Boston Globe recently broke a story citing sources within the Republican Party that apparently in December, Mark Fisher approached the GOP establishment, bigwigs in the party, and said, hey, look, you want me to drop my lawsuit? You want me to drop my candidacy? My price is $1 million. Give me essentially a cool mill. Give me a cool $1 million, and I'll be out of your hair. Charlie Baker will have no serious opponent. He'll be the next nominee. There won't be a primary fight, no bruising primary fight, and he can just sail to the nomination and then take on the Dems in the general election for November. If true, I cite if true, well then essentially the man is a crook. If true, I stress the word if, that's why the allegations were so explosive. If true, then basically Mark Fisher is just looking to line his pockets. So yesterday, in a very dramatic press conference, Mark Fisher said, whoa, no. I didn't approach them asking them for $1 million. They approached me, and he cited 2 unnamed individuals, where he said they approached me and said, hey, we'll give you $1 million if you'll just step down from the race, end your lawsuit, stop your challenge against Charlie Baker, get out of the way, let Charlie become the nominee, the uncontested nominee, and we can train our guns solely on the Democrats. And as Baker said, they were trying to bribe me. This was, in fact, illegal, what they were trying to do. Now, he has been pressed by reporters to reveal the names of those 2 individuals that he said approached him from the state Republican Party, the Mass Republican Party, saying, well, give us the names. Who are the 2 people? He said there were 2, not 1, but 2. Give us the names, and we'll ask them, and we'll get to the bottom of this. He now says that he's under a gag order, and that this gag order prevents him from revealing the names of these 2 individuals. Well, the state Republican Party has now fired back, led by Kirsten Hughes, and she has fired back, and she said he's under no such gag order, none whatsoever, and in fact, he's the one, again, they reiterate their charges, he's the one that approached us and wanted $1 million so that he would drop out of the race. He basically wanted to extort us. He was engaged in a campaign of extortion so that he would pay him $1 million for him to drop out of the race. And the state Republican Party has now said, we have nothing to hide, give the names. Spill the beans, name the 2 individuals involved. And here is where things stand at the moment. Now, just standing back as an impartial observer, as somebody who just wants to see the Democrats go down in November and go down big, and especially for governor, because this state is in a very serious mess, and we need new leadership, new blood at the top, and we need somebody that's now going to challenge this Democratic mafia machine that is running this state into the ground and dismantling it piece by piece by piece. So frankly, I just want somebody who's not going to be part of the Democratic machine, because it is corrupt from head till toe. This is killing the Republican Party. Nobody is winning out of this. Mark Fisher's not winning. Charlie Baker's not winning. The state Republican Party is not winning. These allegations and counter-allegations of bribery and corruption and blackmail and extortion is not making the party look good. In fact, it's doing the very opposite. Rather than unifying the party, it's dividing the party. It's fomenting division, dissension, disarray. It's making, frankly, the party look like some Bush League operation. So, to both candidates, you're not doing yourselves, the party, and frankly, the besieged taxpayers and citizens of Massachusetts any favors by this. None whatsoever. Now, second point. I have been on the record about this for a while. I am a small d Democrat. I am a small r Republican. I believe in primaries. I believe it is healthy for any democracy, and I don't just do it for conservatives. I do it for centrists. I do it for liberals. You name it, across the political spectrum. I believe primaries are a very healthy thing. I believe in freedom. I believe in liberty. I believe in freedom of expression. Unlike most left-wingers, unlike most progressives, I don't believe in a cult of personality. I don't want to stifle opposing views and ideological and political diversity. In fact, I want more ideological and political diversity. It is good for the Republican Party. It is good for the nascent conservative movement in Massachusetts. It is good for Mark Fisher, and it is certainly good for Charlie Baker to have a competitive primary. Why? Let the party flesh out its views on very important issues. Let the grassroots decide what they believe in, what they want their party to stand for. Let it sharpen up Charlie's debating skills, his campaigning skills. Let him, if he is to be the candidate, let him unify every part of the Republican Party. For the Tea Party, let's see if Mark Fisher is really good enough to beat Charlie Baker, if he's the real deal. So don't play with semantics, 14.8, 14.9%. This is not making the party look good, it's not making Charlie Baker look good, and it's making democracy look bad. He basically had enough support to get on the ballot. Put him on the ballot so there is a primary. Now, as to the fundamental charge of corruption, let me just say this. I don't have any definitive proof. I haven't been able to work my sources well enough so that I know exactly what's going on. I can just tell you now using common sense. If what Mark Fisher is saying is true, then the state Republican Party is completely corrupt and no better than the Democrats. If what he's saying is true, if they came to him and offered him $1 million to step out of this race, then my friends, they really are no better than the Democrats. You really then will be exchanging one master for another master, because this is what the Democrats do. This is influence peddling, this is corruption, this is bribery, this is what we've been railing against on this show, and you the listeners now for I don't know how many years with Mini-Me and his corrupt Democratic minions. But I have to tell you, this is just my sixth sense, this is just my instincts talking now. I have no proof. I don't believe it. Personally, I don't believe it. I have no evidence. I'm telling you, I'm just giving you my honest opinion from the gut. I don't believe it. And I'll tell you why I don't believe it. Not that politicians are incapable of being corrupt. The Massachusetts Republican Party does not have $1 million to just cough up. They don't. I know the state of their finances. It's abysmal. They have a hard time raising $400,000, never mind millions of dollars. I don't believe the allegations are true. Now, I could be wrong. I could be persuaded if there's compelling evidence. But here's how to resolve this. I think it's now time for Mark Fisher to put his money where his mouth is. Name those two individuals. If you were truly approached by the Republican Party, the state party, where they put $1 million on the table and said, we want you to drop out of the race, name those two individuals. Don't cite to me a gag order, because there may not even be one. The state Republican Party is daring you. Everyone's saying there is no gag order. So go out there and put your money, lay your chips on the table. Say who those two individuals are. If that's the case, Mark, I will back you all the way. The Republicans will back you all the way. Charlie Baker will be destroyed. The GOP establishment will be destroyed. If you have the smoking gun, now is the time to reveal it. Otherwise, I don't believe you. Because I don't believe the Republican Party has $1 million to throw around. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you this. It's a double barrel question. Number one, Do you believe this infighting and standoff between Fisher and Charlie Baker is hurting the Republican Party from within? And number two, who do you believe? Mark Fisher or the state Republican Party? 617-266-6868 is the number. 620 on the great WRKO. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 624 here on AM 680 WRKO. Mark Fisher is now alleging that the state Massachusetts Republican Party approached him for offering him $1 million to step out of any primary fight against Charlie Baker, drop his lawsuit, don't challenge Charlie for the nomination. Do you believe him, or do you think he's making this up to help his own candidacy and destroy the Republican Party? 617-266-6868 is the number. Russ, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO, and welcome.
First of all, Jeff, anything is in the realm of possibilities when it comes to the game of politics. If anyone approached him, it was no one from the party. It possibly could have been outside individuals that have a stake in the game. We'll put it that way. First of all, Mark Fisher is a successful businessman, but an amateur politician. Someone should have sang the Gambler song to him at the end of the convention. When it's time to fold him, and that's all there is to it. And my question is this: should we call him Christie or should we call him Timmy?
Thank you for that call, Russ. No, look, I'll be honest with you. On some of the issues, I think he's very good. I'm sympathetic to Fisher. I also think the GOP, the Massachusetts GOP, should have a primary. I'm with Joe Battenfeld on this. I don't care if it's 14.9 or 15%. Let this man run. Let him have a voice. Let him run in the fall. Let us have a Republican primary, and let's see what Charlie Baker is made of. Charlie's going to win. I don't see Fisher beating Charlie Baker. So that to me is not the issue. That I support Mark Fisher on. But when he starts claiming that they approached him with $1 million, I don't believe it. I'm just telling you, I don't believe it. Because I know the finances of the Republican Party, number one. Number two, he doesn't want to name the two individuals. And he's citing some gag order that nobody is aware of. Now, I have to be honest with you. The moment I saw the story in the Globe, I said, it's coming from the Boston Globe. I don't believe anything that comes out of the Globe. So, frankly, I don't believe anybody in this. That's what makes this story so bizarre. But I'm just telling you, knowing the state of the Republican Party, if there's one thing I've been doing the last 18 months, is talking to Republicans, canvassing Republicans, meeting Republicans. There's no money. There's just no money. So for him to say two individuals approached him and offered $1 million, buddy, you got to put up or shut up. Name the two individuals, then we'll talk. Otherwise just drop the charges. And both of them, I got to tell you, this is why the texts are coming in and they're really good. We need a third party. If this is what we're going to get from both Republicans and Democrats, it's time to go third party. I mean, it's like two adolescents. He got 14.9%. He's not on the ballot. We don't want him on. No, it's 14.9. It's not 15%. And then the other one now comes out and says, but they stole it. And then they offered me money. And then the other side says, no, he wanted money from us. We never offered him money. He wanted money from us. And meanwhile, who's running the state? Who's assaulting taxpayers? The Democrats. So as we're fighting amongst ourselves, the last line of resistance, the Democrats are cleaning house. John, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on WRKO. Go ahead, John.
Good morning, Mr. Kuhner. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you, my friend.
I know you're the new guy to town. Going on, well, not so new anymore. Going on 1.5 years here. However, this is a every 4-year issue in this state, and you fell for it, my friend. Somebody as brilliant as you. okay? This is the third party peel off. That's why we have Governor Deval Patrick. And we will continue to have the Democrats in this state picking our pockets as long as everybody keeps falling for this. Mr. Fisher, you're not a believer in what you say of all this fiscal responsibility and conservative values, or you wouldn't be pulling this stunt. You don't have a snowball chance in hell of winning the gubernatorial race. So what are you doing? You know what you're doing. You're peeling it off. It's an ego ride, and it's going to hurt the Republican Party. Charlie Baker's going to win the nomination. People need to just pull their heads out of bags here. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I'm with you, John. Now, look, on Wednesday, the Republican Party officially said he's welcome to come on the ballot. Well, if that's the case, what I would tell Fisher is drop your lawsuit. You want to be on the ballot. They've given you what you want. Issue solved. You have a primary fight in the fall. Drop all these legal shenanigans and let's go mano a mano, you against Charlie Baker. I mean, you say you're doing it for the good of Massachusetts and the good of the Republican Party. Now is the time for you to prove it. So to everybody, Charlie, come out and say you want a primary. Fisher, drop your lawsuit. Go in, have a primary. Let's have it in the fall. It's called acting grown up. 617-266-6868 is the number. Call me crazy. Who do you believe, Mark Fisher or the state Republican Party? And do you think this squabble now between Fisher and Charlie Baker is badly damaging Republican chances in November? I want to hear from you, Boston. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 637 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868. Civil war within the Republican Party here in Massachusetts. Yesterday, Republican Tea Party challenger to Charlie Baker, Mark Fisher, who we've had on the show a couple of times, in a press conference, alleged that he was approached by several state GOP operatives, he would not disclose their names, who he said offered him $1 million if he was to drop his lawsuit demanding that he be put on the ballot in a primary challenge against Charlie Baker in the fall, as well as drop his lawsuit against the state Republican Party. The state Republican Party has now sent out an open letter signed by state GOP chair Kirsten Hughes, saying it was the exact opposite. No. He approached us. And according to the state Republican Party, he wanted $1 million to drop his lawsuit and drop his challenge against Charlie Baker. He then said, if you won't give me $1 million, according to the state Republican Party, I'll take $650,000. Somebody's lying. Somebody is lying. Now, I can just tell you this. Knowing the Republican Party, I'm not an expert on the state Republican Party, but I know quite a bit about the state Republican Party. The one thing they don't have is money. They don't have $1 million. They don't have $500,000. Frankly, they don't have $100,000 to just give away to have somebody drop out of a race or settle a lawsuit. So unless Mark Fisher is willing to pony up and give those names, I just don't believe them. Now, to me, the answer to this is very simple. Let there be a primary between Charlie Baker and Mark Fisher in the fall. And here is what I don't understand, and this is frankly what is really turning my stomach. With the out-of-control Democratic regime that we have here in Massachusetts, think of what's at stake. Welfare out of control. 150,000 people on EBT cards. In-state tuition for illegal immigrants. A health connector in a complete mess. Another $500 million, according to stories I'm reading today in the Herald, or we're going to have to plunk in more water down a rat hole for the health connector. Sanctuary city after sanctuary city for illegal immigrants. The drug lab scandal. The New England Compounding Center scandal. 64 dead. Thousands of people released on the streets, convicted felons and drug dealers because of the drug lab scandal. DCF, over 135 children dead or missing. I could go on and on. The gas tax being indexed to inflation. They want even higher taxes, increasing war on the middle class, businesses fleeing, citizens leaving. With everything that's at stake in the state, in the People's Republic of Massachusetts, these two clowns, like two kids in a schoolyard? No, you bribed me. No, you bribed me. No, you bribed me. No, you bribed me. Now, on Wednesday, the Republican State Party said, we will have Mark Fisher if he wants. We will offer him. You want it? Forget the 15%, 14.9, 15%. You've got 10,000 signatures. We will put you on the ballot against Charlie Baker in the fall. Let's have a primary. Let's have a fight between Baker and Fisher. A real contest, and let the Republican voters of Massachusetts decide who their nominee should be. Amen. To me, the issue now should be settled. It's done. Put the good of the party, put the good of the people of Massachusetts ahead of everyone's personal egos and incompetence. And frankly, maybe greed. So the question I have is this. Who's paying Mark Fisher's legal bills? Who's paying his legal bills? Because he got what he wanted. You want to be on the ballot? You're on the ballot. They offered it to you on Wednesday. But no, you want to continue with your lawsuit because you claim you want money for previous damages and all the hassle you had to go through to get on the ballot. Well, who's paying your legal bills? Because if you want to keep litigating this is going to go on for months and months and months. Now, I know he's a businessman, but I don't think he's that wealthy. I don't think he's that well off. So who the hell is paying his legal bills? And I just can't help. There's something here that stinks. It doesn't pass the smell test. It stinks to high heaven. Because the Democrats are licking their chops. This is playing right into their hands. The Republican Party is now divided. They're at each other's throats. So who benefits from this? Who benefits from a fractured, embittered, divided Republican Party? The Democrats? And remember, McCormick. There is a third-party independent candidate out there. He benefits from this because a weakened Republican Party strengthens his hand and obviously helps the Democrats. So both of them are playing right into the hands of their enemies. So Charlie Baker should be a big enough man, hold a press conference, say, listen, Mark, for the good of the party, let's put all of this nonsense behind us. Let's have a primary. You're on the ballot. Drop the lawsuit. Nothing here anymore. We're Republicans. Let's do what's good for the state of Massachusetts. In the fall, we'll have a primary runoff. And whoever wins, wins. That will be the party's nominee. Mark Fisher should be at that same podium with him and say, I'm dropping the lawsuit. I don't care. I offered it. I was offered $1 million. Forget all of this. I just want to win. I want a primary. I got it. Let's go. But notice, nobody's willing to do that. Baker's not willing to show that kind of leadership, and Fisher is playing games. So I'm issuing an open challenge to Mark Fisher. Come on this show and name me those two names. Tell my audience the two names of the people who approached you and offered you $1 million. And if you can't name those two names or won't name those two individuals, then drop your lawsuit. They've offered to put you on the ballot, and let's put this nonsense behind us. Because we've got much bigger fish to fry. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask all of you this. What do you make of Mark Fisher? Do you support Mark Fisher? Do you oppose Mark Fisher? Is he to you a hero or a villain in this? What do you make of the state Republican Party? Do you think they've botched this going all the way back to the convention? And in the end, do you think this is good for the Republican Party or bad for the Republican Party? 617-266-6868 is the number. You can text us at 680-680. The texts are pouring in. This is from 857. Jeff, this is another way to show how the Dems work. Get a lie going to disinform and get Republicans to keep the Republicans out. I got to tell you, there's something about this. I can smell the hands of the Democrats behind this, or maybe even McCormick. There's something, because they're at each other's throats. And it's starting to look a little bit senseless at this point. This is from 508. Juvenile and pathetic. Time for a third party, Jeff. 857. Jeff, the $1 million doesn't have to come from the Massachusetts Republican Party. It can come from any one of Charlie Baker's business backers. I got to tell you, 857, I don't think Charlie Baker would be that stupid. I mean, first of all, even for Charlie Baker, $1 million, that's not peanuts. That's not small change. Even for Charlie, that's a lot of money. Number one. Number two, why? I mean, let's be honest. He would crush Mark Fisher in a primary. He doesn't need to do this. That's why I'm becoming increasingly suspicious of the spin of the story that Mark Fisher is telling. Paul, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on the Kuhner Report. Welcome.
Now, this Mark Fisher, Jeff, I don't know if he's a Tea Party guy, but he smells rotten. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a spy for the Democratic Party. This is how pathetic this state is. This is the one chance the Republicans have to expose all the corruption. And I'm voting for anybody but a Democrat. I'm not a big Charlie Baker guy. I think he's like a Charlie Faker. He's got the look, but he's like Romney, another guy with the look without the fire in the belly. You understand? They don't have that Ronald Reagan type passion. It's just ridiculous. It's sad because this is a time where the Republicans can take over. The Democrats are so vulnerable, and I wouldn't be surprised because this state is so corrupt that Fisher is a spy. That the Democrats have planted him in there. In other words, if you're telling me someone's offered you money, come out with the names. We want to know who these people are. Don't just throw it out and say this may have happened and it's all a conspiracy. Come out. Name who it is that's offered you the money. And it just shows you how pathetic the Republican Party actually is in Massachusetts.
Thank you for that call, Paul. I think you summed it up very well. It's 6:49 here on the Great WRKO. Mark Fisher, hero, villain. Do you believe him? Do you believe the state Republican Party? And is the Republican Party now committing political suicide? 617-266-6868 is the number. Let's take it to Rush Limbaugh. Roll it, Brittany. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 6:57 here on the Great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can text us 680-680. This is from 703 regarding Mark Fisher and now his ongoing battle with the state Republican Party. Jeff, like the independent quote-unquote Tim Cahill, the Moonbats are behind this. They have mastered fracturing the Republican Party. Well, I got to tell you, whether it's coming from the outside or they're doing it from within, the Republicans are basically handing the election to the Democrats at this point. Ronnie, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on the Kuhner Report, and welcome.
Hey, happy Friday to you, Jeff.
Happy Friday, Ronnie.
Hey, just to make a devil's advocate argument, don't you think that this was handed over to the Republicans long before Mark Fisher? I mean, don't you think just having Charlie Baker as a candidate in and of itself hands this over to the Democrats. I mean, the reason I kind of tend to agree with Mark Fisher, again, like you, with so much up in the air, is that the Republican establishment nationwide has spent so much money to defeat Tea Party candidates in the primary. I mean, look at just what happened in North Carolina with the House Speaker, Tom Tillis. Outside groups poured in $1.6 million to get his name recognition up above the Tea Party rivals that he was running against. And I believe Karl Rove founded the super PAC that poured all this money in to the established candidates. So, I mean, no matter where you go, the Republican establishment treats Tea Party candidates no better than the Democrats do. And again, Charlie Baker hasn't acted like he's had to fight for this from the very beginning. He was nowhere on the parade, nowhere on DCF, nowhere on Olga Rashay, nowhere on Justina Pelletier. I mean, I've just gotten the feeling that Charlie Baker's known something the rest of us don't all along, because he hasn't even come close to fighting for that spot. You know what I mean?
Ronnie, you make some as usual, you make some very, very good points. All I can just say is this. When you make an accusation like Mark Fisher has, which is the most explosive accusation you can practically make in politics, that they offered you $1 million to drop out of the race, and you say you know the two people who offered it to you, you could destroy the entire Republican establishment. You could finish Charlie Baker. You could be the next Republican nominee. I mean, you could literally destroy the Republican Party with one exposure. So why is he not exposing the names? Do you know what a mother of all scandals that is? If you can say, these are the two people behind it. They were there. They approached me. They offered me $1 million. Here's the proof. But he's not offering any proof. He's hiding behind some sort of gag order, which I don't even think exists. That makes me question his credibility. Then I start, is he a liar? Because I don't believe you. As of now, I'm being honest with you, I want you to be in the primary. I believe in democracy. I believe in openness. But honestly, I don't believe you. So if you're sitting on this bombshell, expose it, reveal it. Bombs away, baby. 617-266-6868. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. Hour 2, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. Here on AM 680 WRKO and now on 93.7 HD2. It's 7:06. My friends, as many of you know, this Sunday is Mother's Day. It's a very special day where we take one day. Frankly, I mean, almost every day really should be Mother's Day. But it's a special day that we designate to celebrate and honor really the most important people in our life, our mothers. Without them, we wouldn't have been born. Without them, we wouldn't be alive today. I know it takes two to tango, but every one of us has come from the womb of our mothers. And that's why it's a very special day, not just here in the United States, but frankly, all over the world. And I want to play something which I just think is absolutely remarkable. It's a sports story on the surface, but it's really a culture story. And it's about what I believe many of us have lost here in the United States regarding family, regarding our parents, and regarding our mothers. There is a wonderful basketball player. His name is Kevin Durant. He plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he just won the MVP award, the most valuable player for the National Basketball Association. He's an incredible player. He's about maybe 6'10". I don't know. He's a sort of a lanky guy. He's got phenomenal skill. He's got a great three-point shot. He's fast. He's quick. He's a great passer. He's a great team player. He really is an absolutely phenomenal basketball player. What's even nicer is he's a very humble man. He's a consummate professional. You don't see him with the hoodies. You don't see him getting involved with the Trayvon Martin case or making a big deal out of Donald Sterling or any of that. He's not a showman or a charlatan or some kind of a rabid political activist. He does his job. He does it better than no one else in the world. He's a phenomenal athlete. I believe the best basketball player today, although that could be debatable. And so he won this award for being the most valuable player in the regular season. Now, many of you are going to say, Jeff. All right, a great basketball player, plays for Oklahoma, doesn't even play for the Boston Celtics, for God's sakes. What's the big deal, Jeff? So he gives a speech. What's the big deal? I was with the kids. I had the TV on. And so I couldn't catch the whole speech because I'm with Ashton and Ava, and they're making noise. They're running around. Mama, dada. Anyway, so Grace was downstairs, so I couldn't hear all of it, but I heard parts of it. And the parts that I heard, I found incredibly moving. Because here is this man who is now at the pinnacle of fame, at the pinnacle of his playing ability, making tens of millions of dollars, the face of the NBA, along with a couple of other players. But really, not just a national superstar, an international superstar. And yet very humbly, in a nice suit with his glasses on, reading from something that he wrote. He dedicated all of his success and him winning the esteemed MVP award to his mother. But I want you to hear his story, because I want you to contrast it with the story of so many people today in our entitlement culture. And I want you to see what I believe is the greatest gift his mother bestowed upon him. Listen to the speech, or parts of the speech. It's very moving. And this is about his mom. And contrast it with how people talk about their mothers and the example that their mothers today, in our welfare entitlement culture, the example they set for their kids. Roll it, Brittany.
And last, my mom. I think you know what you did. You had my brother when you were 18 years old. 3 years later, I came out. We were stacked, the odds were stacked against us. Single parent with 2 boys by the time you were 21 years old. Everybody told us we weren't supposed to be here. We moved from apartment to apartment by ourselves. One of the best memories I had is when we moved into our first apartment. No bed, no furniture, and we just all sat in the living room and just hugged each other. Because that's what we thought we made it. And when something good happens to you, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to look back to what brought me here. And you wake me up in the middle of the night in the summer times, making me run up a hill, making me do push-ups, screaming at me from the sideline of my games at 8 or 9 years old. We wasn't supposed to be here. You made us believe. You kept us off the street, put clothes on our backs, food on the table. When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You the real MVP. And last, I'd just like to thank God again. He's the first and the last, Alpha and Omega. I thank you for saving my life. I appreciate everybody. Thanks for all the writers for voting for me. Dan.
I love this guy. I love him. I love his humility. I love his Christian faith. I love his devotion to his mother. I love that he hasn't forgotten what it took to get where he is today. But I want to zero in on something because it's extremely important. Remember, I always say this. It's the culture. more than politics, more than economics, more than national security, the thing that America will stand or fall is based on our culture. Culture is everything. Culture is the most important thing. Culture drives politics. Culture drives economics. Culture drives how we look at the world. Here is a man from a broken home. Mother, single mother, had 2 boys. Okay? African Americans. Did she teach him that he was entitled? Did she teach him he should go on welfare? Did she teach him, gimme, 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 I'm owed, I'm owed, I'm owed. Where's my EBT card? Where's my public housing? Where's my food stamps? Where's my affirmative action? Give, 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 give. This attitude that permeates so much of our culture today, black, brown, or white, where everybody now feels they're entitled to everything. Notice, she went to bed hungry to feed her kids. She stood by and gave him an example that you shouldn't walk around life bitter at other people for your circumstances. She didn't teach him, blame Whitey. Blame the white man. Blame the power structure. Blame the 1%. Blame the rich. Blame those that are in charge. They're responsible for our plight today. We're poor because they have so much. We're poor because they're rich. So take and plunder and take and take. She gave him the exact opposite example. As the old saying goes, you give someone a fish, you fed them for a day. That's welfare. Here's a fish. Or in our age, if we're honest, here's a crack pipe. Or a joint. Or a bottle of Jack Daniels. And get lost. Teach a person to fish, you fed him for life. She taught her son to fish, to do push-ups in the middle of the night if you want to be a really good basketball player, to run up those hills, to not blame others, to not have your hand out, but to work for it, to go out and get it. You want it? Work, self-reliance, personal responsibility, like mom. Go out and get it. Don't blame others for your problems. Don't go down the road of Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and, yes, the dear leader and Marxist Muchel. Always blaming white people or blaming the rich or blaming the 1% or blaming whoever. It was her shining example as a mother of self-sacrifice. We don't have a father. Mistakes were made. But there's something called Christian redemption, where you pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you say, okay, it's now us. It's my 2 boys and it's me, and we're going to make it work. And I'm not going to have boyfriends coming in and out of the house, and I'm not going to have drugs coming in and out of the house, and you're not going to go with the gangbangers. You're going to work, you're going to study, you're going to work, you're going to play, and you're going to make what you want to make out of yourself in life. I look at him and I see an American hero. I look at him and I'll be honest with you, I see what America used to be. And no, he doesn't have the gold chains, and he's not there with the limos and the women and the rap and the hip hop and the attitude and the chip on his shoulder and constantly playing the race card. He's humble. He's professional. He's compassionate. He's a gentleman. And he's the damn best player in the NBA. And rather than being so arrogant, he realizes how much his mother gave and sacrificed to him. It's called family. It's called love, personal responsibility, self-reliance, a belief in God, a belief in family and hard work. And that here in America, in the land of opportunity, thanks to the greatness of our founding fathers, and yes, thanks to the greatness of our free enterprise system, nothing is more capitalistic than professional sports. You rise as high or you fall as low as on your abilities and your merit and your talent. And let me ask all of you this. Now that Mother's Day is approaching, what example did your mother set for you? What words of advice, what kind of behavior did she exemplify or symbolize for you? Like Kevin Durant talks about his mother, helping him become the person that he is today. Sunday is Mother's Day. And not just giving flowers, and not just giving chocolates, and not just taking mom out to a restaurant, which is very nice. And frankly, Mother's Day, moms should have off. But on a deeper level, what are some of the stories about your mother that she inspired in you, that she inculcated in you, the values, the principles, the dreams that you carry with you today? 617-266-6868 is the number. Sunday is Mother's Day. What has your mother done for you in terms of an example that she set? 720 here on the great WRKO. I want to hear from you, Boston. 617-266-6868. All of your calls next.
We're supposed to be here. You made us believe. You kept us off the street. Put clothes on our backs, food on the table. When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You're the real MVP.
Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 725 here on the great WRKO. That, of course, was Kevin Durant. He was named the most valuable player in the National Basketball Association. He's a phenomenal professional basketball player. He was given the award a couple days ago, whenever it was. I saw the speech as I was juggling the kids. It was moving. It was touching. It was from the heart. And Mother's Day is on Sunday. And he talks about how his mother's example of self-sacrifice and taking personal responsibility and not blaming others for your bad circumstances, not walking around with your hand out, thinking that people owe you things, was the key to his success. It's a portrait of a different America. Frankly, a conservative America, a traditional America, one that we're increasingly losing today. And honestly, when he talked about his mom, it reminded me a lot of my mom. My mom always told me, be your own man in life. That it was a shame to be on welfare. It was a shame to be living off the government, because she said you're living off others. That it's immoral. That every man and woman should carry their own water in life. And it's one of the greatest examples my mother ever gave me. She came from then Yugoslavia, today Croatia, communist Yugoslavia, literally with 2 suitcases. She said, I had no money. I had literally nothing in my pocket. Your father and I started from nothing in a strange world, in a strange country. We didn't even know the language. And we were too proud to go on welfare. And we were determined to make it, to achieve our full potential. And that's what we want for you, Jeffrey. And it drove me every day. It drove me to study. It drove me to go to school. It drove me to go to graduate school. It drove me to become a professor. It drove me to become a journalist and an editor and a columnist. Frankly, it's why I get up at 2 o'clock every morning and do show prep almost every day. It's why I'm up late doing show prep. I'm not saying I'm the best talk radio host in the business, far from it. But I'll tell you this, I give it 110%. And I owe that all to my mother. 617-266-6868 is the number. Comrade John, thanks for holding. Welcome, comrade.
Wunderbar, Jeff. In your mother's eyes, the best talk radio host.
No, thank
and in
you.
mine, too. You're up there, kid. Listen, my mother raised 11 kids by herself. My father had a massive heart attack a year after the last one was born. 7 girls, 4 boys. When the boys got old enough, she'd sit down and tell you, I don't have as much time for you as I'd like, because you have to raise the girls. It's understandable. Kindness, courtesy, common sense, and a sense of humor. And always have the ability to laugh at yourself. And you know what, Jeff? It's a simple thing, but man, does it work. And whenever I think life is getting hard, I look at what that woman did, and it's just amazing how anyone can go through that and survive. It's phenomenal.
Thank you for that call, comrade. I mean, I think of my mother, too. It's not just that she raised us, she had to work. So she juggled home, she juggled work, she juggled the kids. My father, don't get me wrong, I love my father very much, but he was an old school guy from old Europe. Wasn't an easy guy to deal with. He wasn't an easy personality to deal with. Many Italians who have older generation parents or grandparents will know what I'm saying. Or Greeks or whatever from that part of the world. I don't know how she did it, but she did it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Bill, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on the Kuhner Report, and welcome.
Hello, good morning, Jeff. It's a pleasure to talk to you about my mother for a moment here.
Go ahead, shoot.
She had 2 big ones. Honor your commitments. If you tell somebody you're going to be there, be there. Don't cancel last minute. This has served me so well professionally and personally. The second one is, if you want to have a friend, be a friend. If you are a friend to people, you will have friends around you. Also has served me very well professionally and personally.
Bill, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Kevin Durant, the MVP of the NBA, really paid a wonderful homage to his mother. On Mother's Day, which is on Sunday, what did your mother do for you? If your mother passed away, what were some of the lasting words of advice or wisdom she gave to you? If your mother is still alive, what example did your mother set for you that you still cherish and still follow? 617-266-6868 is the number. All of your calls, you can also text us at 680-680, 730 here on the great WRKO. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report, 737 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. Do you want to share a story about how your mother inspired you? Or the values and principles and wisdom that she inculcated and shared with you? I'd love to hear from you, Boston. 617-266-6868. You can text us at 680-680. Here is from 781. Jeff, my mother taught me, always tell the truth, do not talk badly about anyone, and be charitable because it all comes back to you in the end. This is another one from a different 781. Jeff, my mother raised 6 children. She taught us good manners, don't cost any extra, cleanliness is next to godliness, love is what is important and not money. You know, 781, my mother was the exact same in many ways. She was a clean fanatic, a clean freak, we'd call her today. Brittany says her mom too. I mean, she really the house was spotless. And I got to tell you, in all honesty, with my 2 little kids, I don't know how she did it. Our house, Grace is a phenomenal mom. Don't get me wrong. Please don't misunderstand me. Our house it's a mess compared to how my mother had it. I can't believe it. I mean, I look at my house today, toys everywhere, kids running around everywhere, spills everywhere. And our house when we were growing up with my mother was immaculate. The floor was so clean you can eat off of it. And she would always say that cleanliness is next to godliness. She also would always say, forget money. You need money to live, but what's most important in life is love. Love your wife, love your parents, love your children, love your family, love your close friends. She said, that's what will make you happy. That's your real treasure, not money. And honestly, it served me well my whole life. 617-266-6868. Eric, you're up next on WRKO, and welcome, sir.
Good morning, sir. First of all, don't sell yourself short, Jeff. I mean, you may be, as far as being a talk show host, you do a wonderful job. I may disagree with you completely all the time, but in general, sir, you do a wonderful job of keeping, putting your side of the story out there. So don't sell yourself short. You're a great opponent in this, and being able to talk with you here.
Oh, thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Okay, so as far as the mother thing, unfortunately, I lost my mom about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
that. That's okay.
Eric, if you don't mind me asking, and I don't want to get too personal.
Oh, go ahead.
Did she die of cancer? Was it natural causes?
Yeah. She had she'd been a smoker for a long time, and she had, had cancer like 3 times, breast cancer 3 times, and cervical cancer once, and she survived all of them. And then apparently, she just dropped dead. So unfortunately,
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Well, I appreciate it, man. But I wasn't very close to her, unfortunately. But I was very close to my grandmother, and my grandmother was the one who really instilled in me, the importance of knowing what your history is, the importance of understanding what history was, and being very into that. Before I became a teacher, I was in TV for 25 years, and she was the one who pushed me toward that. So, I have a lot of, love and respect, and I honor my grandmother all the time. And so, I really understand the impact that someone like that can have. As far as, anybody else out there, Jeff, seriously, tell your wife and everybody Happy Mother's Day from me. It's a wonderful holiday, and those people really need to be honored and respected.
Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you. Great call. And best, again, my deepest condolences to you, Eric. 617-266-6868. Captain Rick, you're up next on RKO. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. It was such a pleasure to meet you at the gun place, the Mass
Firearm School on the weekend?
Yeah, that was such a pleasure to listen to your talk, and I was the guy that drives the truck. Finally I got a day off, and this was my first time calling you, so I'm really nervous.
Don't be nervous, Rick. Welcome, and just like we're on a phone, just like you and I are just having a chat on the phone. We're just shooting the breeze, Rick.
This is so cool, Jeff. As far as Mother's Day, we grew up very poor, and my dad worked like 3 jobs, and my mom took in foster children, infants, and, used to, change the diapers and bathe and do the whole thing, the bassinet. And she always, felt every time she had to let the child, go, the attachment that she had with that each kid, was amazing. I think my point is that my wife and we raised our 2 children, 2 girls. I was fortunate enough to be able to provide enough for the family she could stay at home mom and raise our children. But nowadays, with the economy and all this stuff going on, both parents have to work. And I think we ought to address that. Our country has kind of gone, out of sync as far as that's concerned.
I agree with you. And thank you for that call, Captain Rick. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. Look, my mother worked, forgive me, till I was 5 years of age. I had not a nanny, it was a woman, she would drop me off, she would take care of a couple of kids, very nice woman, French-Canadian woman. My dad worked, my mother worked, they had to. They were both literally off the boat. They were immigrants off the boat. And so I was taken care of by this French-Canadian woman. She was a very nice woman, but I miss my parents. When I turned 5, that's when my mother had Jenny, my younger sister. And my father, by then, he was a man from old Europe. He was very proud. He started to make better money. He started to rise within his company. He worked ferociously long hours. And he took great pride that when Jenny was born, he was making enough of an income that my mother, his wife, no longer needed to work. And so from that time on, then my mother was basically a stay-at-home mom. My father keeps emphasizing this point to me, and I agree with him. He goes, Jeff, our standard of living has been eroding, not just in Canada, but in America, in North America. He says before, a single wage earner, a father, a husband, could provide for his entire family, even if he was a working man. Now, even if you're middle class, even if you're upper middle class, the spouse has to work. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Fathers are very important. Fathers do a lot. Fathers are very hardworking. They have a lot of responsibility. So please don't misunderstand this when I say this. I'm not downgrading or denying the role of a father. Look, I am a father. But I'll be honest with you. I think the feminist revolution, and I don't want to get too political, I think it has hurt and shortchanged women. Because I look at women around me, they work now just as hard as men. They have to be breadwinners. No matter how much men pitch in the home, they don't do as much as women. Women have this fundamental maternal instinct to take care of their children. They just do more in the home. They just do. I'm not saying men don't do things in the home. I said, don't get me wrong. But I look at Grace. Now, she gave up, temporarily put her career on hold. She's doing a bit of talk radio. She does some writing, but nowhere near like before because she wanted to be there for Ashton and Ava all the time. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom. But I was just thinking, my God, and she's exhausted. My God, if she was actually working full-time, I don't know how'd she do it. Change the diapers, she does it a hell of a lot more than I do. Feed the kids, she does it a hell of a lot more often than I do. Take the kids everywhere, she does it a hell of a lot more than I do. Cleaning up after the kids, she does it a hell of a lot more than I do. Cleaning the house, she does it a hell of a lot more than I do. The floors, the dishes, you name it. Plus, she wants to pay the bills. A lot of women do that. They're basically the domestic finance ministers. So, women, I believe, work harder than men in today's world. And I look at many women, honestly, they look exhausted. And then on top of it all, you have a culture that says you got to be sexy. Oh my God! You've put on 2 pounds. Oh, get liposuction. Take this diet pill. Oh, you have to look 20 when you're 40 or 45. So you have this pressure that you got to be at the gym 3 hours a day. They want women to be like a superwoman, supermom. You got to work, make a ton of money. You got to raise the kids. You got to be a great housewife. Plus, you got to look super sexy. It's just, something's got to give. But look, my mother worked ferociously hard. And she taught me a work ethic, and I got to tell you, that to me was one of the greatest things she ever gave me. 617-266-6868. Cooksey says my mother wants me to take calls. He's so funny. Mags, you're up next. Thanks for holding. You're on RKO, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. You know what I wanted to say about my mom is that the one thing, she was left with 5 children, 5 under 5 in the 60s, Jeff. And she was a teacher full-time. And the one thing that she managed to do for us is teach us morals and school books and take us to church and made us believe in God and taught us all about God and being a good Christian and taking care of other people and not only taking care of yourself. And I think if we try to bring that back in this world, then maybe we'd have a better place to live.
Mags, if you don't mind me asking, and please tell me if I'm getting too personal, were you close with your mom? Did you have a nice, intimate relationship with your mom?
When we were little kids, we were very close to our mother because we knew that's all We were very fortunate enough to have an aunt, a great aunt, Stella, and my grandmother, Dot, who lived actually till she was 101, who was very close to us. So we had extended family with them. But I had a father that actually just passed and left 5 children, 5 under 5. And our home that we lived in, Jeff, was 5 houses down from Louisa May Alcott in Concord, Massachusetts. So you can imagine the mortgage that was on that house and everything.
Oh, my God.
We were on welfare and stuff like that. And I want you to know that, like, my mother raised 5 children, that my youngest brother's a veterinarian. I'm in sales. My other brother owns, has a PR business. My sister's a CFO. I mean, all of us are hard workers. We do for other people. We believe in helping other people. And I think, that's part of the problem with the world today is, like, that we need to watch out for one another and we need to take care of each other and we need to really look at other people because there's a lot of people suffering in the world today that nobody really cares about. And with what's going on in politics, we need to become more of a nation and stick together because they're trying to ruin our world. And we need to become one and reunite and bring it back, just like one big family.
Excellent. Really well said. Mags, have a very happy Mother's Day. You're an inspiration. God bless you. Jennifer, you're up next on WRKO. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Jennifer.
I'm calling from Salem, New Hampshire. I'm a mother of 2 children, a 4-year-old and an 8-month-old baby, and you basically nailed it as far as saying the women work a lot more harder. I love my husband. He does a lot, but I'm tired, like you stated, but I want to wish my mother, Susan, happy Mother's Day. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. She's a very, very strong person. She helps me financially, supports me 100%, and I wish there was a lot more mothers out there like her. She's just a loving person. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you.
Jennifer, are you doing anything special for Mother's Day?
Well, I'm going to be taking her out to eat and stuff and just spending the day with her and my kids and stuff and just enjoying it. I'm not doing too much, but just, just being together. I think that's the most important thing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but I love your show, by the way. I have to say, a little off note, my father, he is very, very knowledgeable, and he encouraged me to listen to you every morning, and I have been for about 6 to 8 months, and let me tell you, I've come a long way as far as being, more knowledgeable of what's going on in this world, and I thank you for that every morning.
Wow, thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer, before I let you go,
sure.
You sound quite young, if you don't mind me asking. How old are you, Jennifer?
I'll be 39 in June.
39?
Yeah, 39. But I look young, so that's a good thing.
You sound 21.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. But
are you? I mean, if I got to ask this follow-up question. Are you as young looking as you are as you speak?
Yeah, I'm pretty young looking. Yeah.
I could tell. I mean, you have a really nice, youthful spirit about you. Keep it up, Jennifer.
Thank you very much. I appreciate, like I said, you're just a very knowledgeable person, and I appreciate that. And I look forward to getting in my car every morning and listen to you, because the things you say, you just sit back and you say, wow. It's amazing what goes on in this world. And I want to thank you and my dad, too, because it's the things that goes on in this world. Not a lot of people are very knowledgeable of what's going on day to day in this world. So I appreciate everything you do in the morning and say. So thank you for your time.
Jennifer,
and I
thank you so much. Honestly,
I hope your wife has a wonderful holiday as well.
Thank you, Jennifer. Have a beautiful, blessed Mother's Day. And call again, Jennifer.
Okay, thank you.
You're always welcome in the Kuhner family. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mother's Day is on Sunday. Do you want to share a story about your mother, how your mother inspired you, what she meant to you? I want to hear from you, Boston. 7:53 on the great WRKO. All of your calls next. Welcome back to the Kuhner Report. 7:59. Marianne, you're up next. Go.
Hey, Jeff. Hold on. How are you?
Hi, Marianne. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually the mom of the other Brittany that you met the night that we were in Peabody.
Oh, you're the mom of the other Brittany.
Yeah, the other redhead Brittany. Yes.
Yes.
Hey, so I just wanted to say, number one, I am fortunate enough to be a mom, and love every bit of being it. It's sometimes very challenging, but my mom is a pretty special mom who adopted 3 children and had 3 under 5 at once, and she taught each of us to be really hardworking, just to have wonderful moral values that we still, all 3 of us, pretty straight, pretty hardworking kids today, or young people today. I still think we're young. And we are very fortunate to have a mom that didn't have to work as much as we do today. But because she was there in the afternoon, she worked like mother's hours. But she still was able to do a little bit of work to help out. But she was there for us, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to be there for my daughter, because I work a job where I work out of my home. So it's given me a lot more opportunity to be where I need to be when I need to be there. Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a wonderful mom, and I want to say thanks, Mom, for everything. And she's not quite 75. She's coming up on her 75th birthday in a couple of weeks, so she's a pretty special lady.
Marianne, I remember meeting you, and I got to tell you, you're one of the nicest people I have ever met.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure, and I'm positive you're a phenomenal mom. Have a blessed Mother's Day. God bless you, Marianne.
Hey, and I hope your wife has I hope you do something wonderful with your wife.
Oh,
too.
I will. Listen, she's not lifting a finger on Mother's Day. Not lifting a finger, Marianne.
Well, that's good. I hope you have a great day. And Brittany, I hope she takes care of her mom, too.
Her mom is off to the vineyard. She's off to Martha's vineyard.
Oh,
no, Brittany's going to be... She's going to be taking care of her grandmothers and her aunts. She's going to treat them to a nice lunch or a dinner, a nice brunch.
That's good.
She's making more money now thanks to her promotion, and she's going to spend a little bit on her family.
Oh, well, I like that. That is wonderful. Oh, that's awesome. So you guys have a great day. I just want to, like I said, I don't very often call, but when it has to do with my mom.
Please call again. We'd love to have you back on the air. God bless you, and have a blessed, happy Mother's Day.
Thanks.
Take care. 617-266-6868 is the number. Can I squeeze one more in, Brittany? Bruce, you're up next. Go, my friend.
Hey, happy Mother's Day to all of yous and yours.
Thank you, Bruce.
I just want to say this about my mother. When I was a little kid, well, actually when I was born with asthma, and I had it really bad. I was in oxygen tents 11 times from years 1 to 5. She put me in a musical education program when I was in 2nd grade, playing the trumpet. I couldn't even hold 5 notes. I ended up running track, wrestling. I was in ROTC, Boy Scouts. All my sisters were in Girl Scouts. She was the vice president of the Girl Scouts Mystic Side Council. She volunteered at the church. She ran the thrift shop. She sang in the choir. We went to church every Sunday. Sunday was the day with the family, and she was the boss. And she did homeless, fed the homeless twice a week, volunteered with the church women, just very active in the community. She was a warden of how she had all these eggs in one basket, Jeff, I don't know, and raised 6 kids. She was the warden at Ward 7 for the polls. I mean, everybody loved her and adored her. She died she was buried on my birthday last September. I miss her terribly, and I just like talking on your show, and I'm glad I got to say something about my mom.
God bless you, Bruce. She sounded like an absolute saint.
She was something else.
Bruce, God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, Jeff.
617-266-6868. Coming up next, newsmaker interview with the father of Justina Pelletier, Lou Pelletier. Don't touch that dial, 804 on RKO. Let's take it to Angela in the newsroom.